You ever hear the word recession and just kind of tune out? Because it sounds so complicated, right? Well, what if I told you we could understand the whole thing with a simple story? A story about a jungle full of monkeys, bananas, and leaves. Let's dive in and see what happens when this jungle economy starts to fall apart.
Okay, so our story starts with this little puzzle. Sometimes the jungle stops growing bananas. Monkeys stop spending leaves. Monkey factories stop making radios. What on earth does that mean? Well, this little riddle, it's basically the entire story of a recession. And to really get it, we first need to understand what all the pieces represent.
So to crack that code, we have to learn the language of the jungle first. Think of it like learning the rules of a new game. Every single thing in our jungle story stands for something in the real world, in our economy. Once we connect these dots, the whole picture is going to make a lot more sense. All right, here's the breakdown. It's actually super simple. The bananas, that's all the stuff we buy and use. You know, goods and services. The leaves are just money. Easy enough. And the monkeys, well, that's us. We're the workers, the consumers, the whole shebang. And those monkey factories, that's just a fun way of talking about all the businesses out there. So, with these rules in our back pocket, we can finally see what happens when things go wrong.
Okay, so the rules are set. We know who's who. Now for the interesting part. Let's explore what happens when it all starts to break down. This is where our jungle gets, well, pretty sad. This is the start of what we're going to call a banana recession.
And boom, here's how it happens. It's like this vicious cycle. See, it all starts with just one little thing. For whatever reason, fewer bananas are being grown. The whole economy just slows down. So what do the monkeys do? They get scared. And when you're scared, you don't spend, right? You hold on to your leaves just in case. But wait a minute. If nobody's spending their leaves, what happens to the factories making all the cool stuff, like radios? Yeah, they have to shut down. And here's the real kicker. All the monkeys working in those factories, they lose their jobs. Now they have no leaves at all. See how that works? It just keeps feeding on itself, spiraling down and down.
So in this whole mess, this entire chain reaction, what do you think this single biggest, most painful problem is for the actual monkeys living in the jungle?
It's this. Unemployment. In our little jungle story, it's monkeys with no leaves. And if you have no leaves, you can't buy bananas, you can't participate, you're completely cut off. This is the real human cost of a recession, and it's why it's taken so seriously.
But just when things seem their darkest, a hero often emerges. In our story, it's the Monkey Federal Reserve, or, the Monkey Fed for short. Their one and only mission? To get the jungle economy growing again. So, what's their big plan?
The Monkey Fed has this one giant lever it can pull. It's all about controlling how much it costs to borrow leaves, what we call interest rates. So to fight a recession, they make it super cheap to borrow leaves. The goal is to encourage monkeys to spend again. I mean, think about it. If a monkey can get a loan for almost nothing, maybe they'll go out and build a new factory. And that new factory will hire other monkeys. And all of a sudden, leaves are flowing through the jungle again. Now, on the flip side, if the monkeys were spending too much, the Fed would do the opposite, make borrowing expensive to cool things down. But for our sad jungle, cheap leaves are the rescue plan. So we've seen the whole story play out. A slowdown causes fear, that fear leads to less spending, and that creates this nasty downward spiral of job losses. Then, the Monkey Fed steps in, making borrowing leaves practically free to try and restart the jungle's engine. But, and this is the big question, what if the monkeys are just too scared to borrow? What if even free leaves aren't enough to get things going again?